Brought to you by Penguin.
Wings of the Storm by Giles Kristian. Read by Philip Stevens. When the wind god rides across the sky, with his host of hounds and the ghosts of men, and the spirits of these long dead fly in the wild hunt over wood and fen, and in their wake the widows cry, "Beware, old One-Eye, and Slipnir then, as spirits are from their bodies torn by the gusting winds on the wings of the storm." Sigurd Haraldsson's Saga. Prologue. AD 775, Arvaldsnes, Norway. The boy had not been invited to cast his spear when at last the king's hounds' noses led them to the bull elk, deep in the pine woods to the west of Gorm's Hall. "We can't take any chances, boy, not after last time," Harold had muttered to him, though he had already spun the picture in his mind of his spear bringing the great beast down, of the steel-tipped shaft flying from his hand like a spear of lightning from the sky, and of King Gorm slapping his back and laughing because amongst grown men, a king and a jarl no less, it was he who had laid that mighty elk down in the bracken. But neither the king nor the boy's father had allowed him to cast the spear, which he had gripped in his hand these past 4 days, since they had last seen the creature and tried to claim it for honour and the king's table. On that day his throw had won him King Gorm's praise and his father's pride, the spear having struck the bull elk in his right hind quarters, though there had not been the muscle in the throw to keep it there. His father's throw had been almost saga-worthy, but the beast had swerved, and the jarl's spear only gouged a furrow in its neck. And then it was gone, roaring as it galloped off through the pines. This time, though, there had been no chance of escape. Having stayed ahead of the pack, the mighty elk had at last come to the end of its life's thread. Trapped between the hunting party of hounds and hearthmen, and a rocky prominence, down whose grey, moss-festooned face the rain coursed, he had turned to face his pursuers. "I hope when my day comes, I will face death with the same courage, boy," his father had said, stepping forward at the king's invitation to cast his great spear. But that had meant nothing to the boy. He was still sulking at being denied his moment of fame. "Take him in his heart," King Gorm said, gripping his own spear in readiness should Harold's not strike true, or if the elk bolted at the last moment. Behind them the men had leashed their dogs, which barked and snarled at the beast, clamouring to get at it, though some would surely die before the elk did, for the bull's antlers were massive. They swept up, out and back from its great head, 6 tines and 12 points in all, spanning some 5.5 feet, and more than capable of tearing open a hound's belly, or a man's. Imagine what they could do to a boy. "I am sorry I did not kill you last time we met, friend," Harold told the elk, who lifted those magnificent antlers like a warrior showing his sword to the gods before his last fight. He gave a shrill, air-fogging call, which sounded like that from a small horn blown by a big man, and the boy thought the beast would charge. His father thought so too, from the way he suddenly put both hands round his spear's shaft and brought it in front of him, at the same time throwing a foot behind him and bracing. But the creature was already finished. He had nothing left, neither fury nor defiance. He just stood.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?